Praise your holy name, Father. I come today to address a situation that I really am concerned about. And Father, I ask you to give me the right words to speak to the people so they can hear your words, not mine and not Elizabeth's. I'm asking this in the name of Yahshua HaMashiach. You know, for some reason, if we want to sin, we can find all sorts of reasons to do so. And when we say that Yahshua HaMashiach himself told us that we could do this, is really a blatant lie. And using Yeshua's name in the worst way. Now, I am a divorced woman. And I fought for my marriage. I was married to this man for 17 years. And I was a minister at the same time. Held tent revivals, and many times he'd be there with me. I'd go on revivals and he'd be there. I would have a revival and he would threaten to leave me and take the kids if I went, and I would look at him and pack up my bags and my kids' bags, put them in the car and say, well, I have to do what God tells me to do first. And if you're here when we get back, you'll be here. If not, then it will have to be a choice you make. But I will come back after the revival. Which he never left me. You know, he seemed like he was always there when I come back. It was always a hard time doing God's will. I would go out and fall on the ground many times out in the woods when we lived near the woods, and cry and pray for my ex-husband when I was married to him. No matter what he did to me, I prayed. I prayed for his soul. I prayed that he would see the light and that he would become one with the Father and Yeshua, Jesus Christ. At that time I called him Jesus. And then that we would become one in the Spirit. Holding hands, praying, reading the scriptures together. That was so much of my heart's desire. But when I hear this, see, I had never heard this before till today. I just heard this video that Elizabeth has made. I'm going to play a little bit of the first, how her video begins.
Prophecy 111. I, Yahshua Mashiach, grant you a holy divorce decree for those who need it. Written, spoken under the anointing of the Ruach HaKodesh through Apostle Elizabeth, Sherry, Elijah, Nehemiah, given May 22nd, 2009. Released June 27th, 2009. From Prophecy 105. Yahweh said to put this up on all prophecies from now on. I warned you a long time ago, Elizabeth.
Okay. A writ of divorce, a holy writ of divorce. And she keeps going on about this tape. How she took her young son, and I met him. He's a very blessed young man to have to go through all the stuff that he's been through. And how she ran away with her young son and come down here to Arkansas, and she filed for divorce, which she calls the judge evil, because it says, I had temporarily ran to Arkansas with my 13-year-old son to make a new life for myself and forced my ex-husband to travel to Arkansas, where I served him with divorce papers. Well, the reason why the judge wouldn't grant the divorce had nothing to do with her ex-husband paying him off or anything. You have to be in a state a certain length of time before you can file for a divorce. You can't just run off to any state that you want to and get a divorce. So it wasn't the judge's fault. He had to follow the laws of the state. Whereas her ex-husband, had the right to file for a divorce because he went back to his state and he filed for it because that's where they had lived together all these years. And he did it because he didn't want to give up half his money to her. Now, I'm not saying anything against her divorce, nor her husband now, Nicky, who left his wife and children and came down to live with her. And I can't throw rocks because I'm divorced. When my ex-husband, I gave him a choice because of what he did to our daughter. I said, you either go get mental help or you have to move out of the house and be away until our daughter is grown, where you can't be around her, and then you can come back. And he chose the divorce. And yes, I felt like I failed somehow, some way, and finally the Rukadesh let me know that it wasn't my fault what my ex did to our child. It was a choice that he made and he decided to do. And that he chose a divorce himself. And I know that the Father has forgiven. But what bothers me is when she tells other people, she tells other people about being unequally yoked together. And not to be unequally yoked together. When Paul was talking about that, he was talking about believers. That we're not supposed to be unequally yoked together with this world. Going to our friend's house, that we call our friends, indulging in their worldly things, and then coming back and saying, I'm a child of God. But you can't do that. You can't be have friendship with the world and yet friendship with God. But when a man and woman are married, they become one, either on that wedding night or whenever you have intercourse. That is becoming one flesh. Even it said in the scriptures that if you lay with a harlot, you become one flesh with a harlot. Even Yahshua said that. So, I'm coming today to speak on this deceptive lie that Elizabeth has spoken on behalf of Yahshua, saying that he told her that he would give her a holy writ of divorce and that she never was married to this man in heaven. Well, then she never slept with him. When you enter into a relationship, that night, that very night, you become one with that person, whether you like it or not. She had children by this man. Now, I'm not saying he was a good man, and maybe he did all the things that she said he did, and definitely if he was having an affair with this other woman, well, you know, that is a sin. A very strong sin. And it is grounds for divorce. I mean, I must go back to, let me see, let's go to Mark, and let's go to Mark 10:4. And this is Yahshua speaking. They said, Moses allowed a man to hand his wife a grant and a divorce and divorce her. But Yahshua said to them, this is Yahshua speaking, he wrote this commandment for you because of your hard-heartedness. However, at the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man should leave his father and mother and be united, that's sexually, with his wife, and the two are to become one flesh. Now, if you're looking for a way out of your marriage, and you no longer love your mate, and you want to get rid of them, don't say that my beloved Yahshua said you never was married, because then you've just made him a liar. And don't say that he gave you a holy writ of divorce, because he's not ever gave you a holy writ of divorce. I am speaking from experience. I am remarried, and through the holy blood of Yahshua HaMashiach, I have pleaded the blood and asked God to forgive me of all my sins, and my husband, see, my husband that I am married to now has never been married, ever. But this is just mind-boggling. I had never ever heard this before from her, or I would have rebuked her. I do know that when Nicole and her was talking one time, how he, now this come out of his and her mouth, how he, when he got together with her, he had to train her. Forcibly making her do things that was even against her will. And I'm talking about the husband she has now. This come out of his mouth and her mouth. And I looked at both of them and said, you know what? That's not of God. That's not of God. To hold a person down and make them do things like, bathe whenever you want them to bathe, sleep when you want them to sleep, eat when you wanted them to eat. No man or woman has a right to break and train another human being. People should come together in love and unity. But whenever some reason that marriage fails, don't say Yahshua said it was okay to leave. I'm telling you out there, there is no holy writ of divorce. Yahshua didn't say it. What she seen that night, I do not believe was Yahshua standing there. Satan can come as a servant of light. Paul talked about that. Satan is very deceptive in things that he does. My marriage to my ex-husband never was a prison. I married him willingly and loving him. My heart was broken when the marriage broke up. I've been married to the man I have now for 32 years. And we've been through a lot of things and have grown. And if we decided to divorce each other, it wouldn't be Yahshua's will. Yahshua says the only reason for a divorce is fornication. If that mate of yours is going out and having sex with someone else, don't believe these lies. Don't believe these lies of Elizabeth, Elijah. Don't commit sin because you may feel like, oh, I'm not equally yoked together. My husband or my wife isn't spiritual. They don't read the Bible with me like they should. They don't grasp hands and pray with me. I feel like sometimes I'm out here all alone. They even sometimes make fun of my beliefs. My ex-husband did. And the man I'm married to right now did for a while. But I stayed in there and prayed for him as much as I prayed for my ex-husband. And God, bless his heart, has come to the point that he knows I am part of Yahshua. He knows. And he knows about the videos here, and he encourages me anymore. He encourages me to do the will of the Father. Please don't listen to these things. Please. She not only teaches hate and to hate your enemies, which Yahshua said to love your enemies. He says, I say to love your enemies. It seems like everything that she says is totally against what Yahshua has said in the Word, in the Scriptures, printed in black and white where you can read it, and she totally goes against it, friend. If you're in a marriage then seek Yahshua and seek for his guidance. But don't believe her. Don't believe her. There is no such a thing as a holy writ of divorce by Yahshua. We are the salt of the earth. And we need to let our light shine. We need to let our light shine. Yes, I used to hate my ex-husband there for a while, but I have come to forgive him in love. I pray for him still continuously. I do not want him to die, nor any of the women that he had affairs with. You know, Satan has a way to sneak in and deceive people. Don't let this be a deception. Whenever I counsel somebody that is having a hard time in their marriage, I like to counsel both of them. Not just one by themselves, but both together, trying to let each other see that this is a marriage. That when they come together and they become one, they are married in God's eyes. They are. I mean, in a way, what she was saying is that she lay with this man, and she become one with this man, and had children with this man. But she is putting herself into saying, I was a whore. I'm a harlot. And he come and laid with me, and became one with me, and I had children for him. No, no. She was married to him, even in heaven. And I don't condone abusive acts from anyone, either from man on a woman or a woman on a man. And of course there'll be disagreements, because the man will see things his way and the woman will see things her way. And we are in a society that just kind of like condones that, well, you have a right to feel this way, or you have a right to feel that way. No. You have the right and the privilege to come together and say, honey, I don't see it your way. This is how I see it. But nevertheless, let's try to work it out. In love. If you hate somebody you're living with, as Elizabeth hated her ex-husband and wandered away from him, even wanted him to die on that boat, had wanted him and I guess his girlfriend, I don't know, to die on that boat in that storm when she said that they were going to try to kill her. All I could hear in that part of the video was total 100% fear on Elizabeth. An imagination ran wild, and so afraid she made her own self sick to her stomach. And yes, I feel sorry for her, because if you really fear that person that much, then maybe you need to walk away. If he's that violent and that mean that you fear your life, then maybe you need to walk away and get help. Because there's been many women killed by abusive men, but there's also been men killed by abusive wives. But it's not a divorce decreed by Yahshua. No, it's not a holy divorce. You were married to that man. You are married to that man. And in heaven's eyes, you are married, as I was married to my ex-husband, as Elizabeth was married to her ex-husband. And if you decide to walk away from this mate, let it be for a reason that Yahshua said, fornication. Not because your husband may be not as spiritual as you think he should be, or she may not be as spiritual as you think she should be. You need to seek God, and you need to seek Yahshua. You need to seek Him in His holiness and ask Him to guide you in what you need to do. But you don't run off down to another state and let another man come in and live with you that's married to another woman with children. That's sin. I'm telling you, that's sin. You can't do it. It's not permitted by Yahshua or God or the laws of God. It's not permitted. Please come out of this. Please do not listen to this, because you are supposed to be the salt of the earth. You are supposed to be standing there shining off the light. And Elizabeth, I'm sorry you was married to this man that you had children by. Nikki, you were married to that woman you had children by. In God's eyes, in Yahshua's eyes, you were married. Don't tell people these lies. Don't tell people to make you feel better about your divorce and leaving your mates by getting other people to leave their mates. It's unholy, it's abominable, and it's a sin. And you're teaching others to sin. That's why you teach them how to hate others. So may God forgive you. May you come to sight. And I beg of anybody that listens to that video of Elizabeth Elijah about the divorce, do not listen to this. Do not listen to this lies on my beloved Yahshua, because he did not say that. I read you the words he said. Come to him, ask forgiveness, and do his holy will. In the name of Yahshua HaMashiach, become the salt of the earth. Do not listen to these abominable lies. Do not leave your mate because somebody tells you you're unequally yoked together. I'd rather do God's will than listen to anyone else. In the name of Yahshua, in the name of Yahshua, I rebuke this lie of Satan. for it is not of Yahshua. There is no writ of holy divorce. That is a lie of Satan. Forgive her, Father. Forgive her in Yeshua's holy name. Amen.